All right, this is the tutorial for how to break down a text. This is going to be an opinion article, and how to break it down to start doing the paper one introduction. We got our timer going right here, and we have our materials ready, and let's get to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remind myself the things that I need to be looking for. Text type, title, author, audience, purpose, content, context, message, theme, mood, tone, style, structure. The mood, the tone, the style, and the structure are not as important for the introduction as they are for the body paragraphs, but I am going to be having to keep an eye out for them. Okay, so what is the text type? How to identify that this is an opinion article? The Innovator's Dilemma hits higher ed. Purdue's acquisition of Kaplan University is risky, unconventional, unexpected, and smart. These seem to be opinion words to me. It's by Elena Dunnigan. I don't know who Elena Dunnigan is. I don't know if she's an opinion article regular. At the moment, I don't know on the page where the who published it. And I don't know, I don't have any clues on this page as to what section of the newspaper it's in. It seems like a newspaper article to me. Last month's announcement that Indiana's Purdue University would acquire the for-profit Kaplan University shocked the world of higher education. The Purdue faculty are up in arms. The merger faces a series of regulatory obstacles, and it's unclear whether the new U, as the entity is temporarily named, can be operationally viable or financially successful. The language here, the tone here, has a kind of a conversational feel to me, which I'm thinking is going to be an opinion article. It doesn't strike me as being the lead in the same way that that a straight news article would be. So this lead here, though it does tell me the content, it doesn't necessarily, I'm not 100% sure whether it's a news article or an opinion yet. I think it's an opinion, but I want to find more proof. But Purdue's President Mitch Daniels is willing to give it a shot. The venture is unexpected, unconventional, and smart. The nature of the partnership in which Kaplan will transfer its assets to Purdue, a public university, is unprecedented. It's also a rare instance of attempted self-disruption. There are lessons here from the business world. In the seminal 1997 book, The Innovator's Dilemma, Harvard professor Clayton Christensen describes how leading companies can do everything right and still be thwarted by disruptive competitors. This type of citation we find in opinion articles, so that's another thing that makes me feel like this feels like an opinion article. In an effort to appease stakeholders, leaders focus resources and activities that target current customers, promise higher profits, build prestige, and help them play in substantial markets. As Mr. Christensen observes, they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Meanwhile, disruptive innovation is changing all the rules. Facing the innovator's dilemma requires leaders to think beyond their current business model, identify the strategic conundrum in which they find themselves, and accurately assess their organization's capabilities to compete on entirely new terms. This here, though I believe it, is an opinion statement. Because the innovator's dilemma, the writer is saying, requires leaders to think beyond their current business model. That is not necessarily a fact, right? Some people might do something differently. This is probably best practice. This is probably what I would do, but I think this is an opinion statement. This is an opinion statement. This right here looks like a fact statement, but shock the world. It's a little squishy, right? That could be fact, it could be opinion. I'm going to say this is an opinion article. I'm going to go in that direction. All right, so text type is opinion. The title, Innovator's Dilemma. The author is right here. The audience. Who is the audience? Audience, from reading the first page, are going to be people who are in education, people who work in education, could be students, could be parents, could be ed admin. What's the purpose? The purpose here at the moment seems to be to share news about last month's announcement that Indiana's Purdue University would acquire the for-profit Kaplan University. It seems like it's also going to be sharing a message of leaders thinking beyond their current business models. Let's keep reading. Initially disruptive, innovations offer products and services that underperform existing options, create lower profits, and can be sold only in less significant markets. That describes the early stages of Airbnb, Amazon, Netflix, Uber, Wikipedia, and a slew of other low-end providers that went on to dominate their markets. The higher education industry, full of brilliant and competent leaders, is ripe for disruption. Despite mounting political pressure, not to mention the struggles of the indebted alumni, most college presidents believe that their institutions are providing students with good value. This is kind of context, right? I might be able to steal some context from that. By and large, they remain comfortable making small marginal tweaks to the business models. This whole thing, this paragraph offers context. In contrast, Mr. Daniels has a long history of bold, innovative moves. Also, some context. He was an early supporter of Western Governors University, a leading competency-based education provider. He has encouraged the development of income share agreements at Purdue, which may make a big dent in the student loan crisis. Okay, all right, so now I'm starting to find a purpose here. I think the purpose of this article, is to weigh in on new idea to make college affordable. That's the purpose. The content right now seems to be about Kaplan University and Purdue, right? So right now I'm thinking the content's going to be Kaplan University and Purdue's purchase of Kaplan University. The context, let's put some context right here. Context is that uni is expensive. I think the context also has to do with that universities cost a lot to run. And so if Kaplan is largely online, or it's for profit, then this makes it, this might be useful for Purdue because it can make money, right? So it's the for-profit part. University is expensive to purchase education, and universities cost a lot to run. So you might not know this, but most universities, when you go to the university, you'll pay your $25,000, your $30,000, your $50,000. That actually doesn't cover the full cost of the tuition. For instance, at my university, Boston University, which is close to $50,000 to go to school, room, board, tuition, that only covers 75 or 80%. So universities have these annual funds, and annual funds are where alumni give money to the school, and then that money is used to run the school. So I'm keeping an eye on the time here. It's been about 9 minutes, and right now I have my text type, my title, my author, my audience, my purpose. I have my content mostly figured out. I have my context figured out. What's the message? I want to look at the message. The message is going to be an important one for me to figure out. Notice I haven't read the entire thing yet, and I've already started to figure these things out. I'm not going to read the whole thing and then go and figure it out. I'm going to figure it out as I go. That's part of the strategy to do this quickly. Mr. Daniels explicated his motivations in an addendum to his announcement of the acquisition. He detailed 3 key realities. Okay, this is more content and context. Millions of potential students are unserved by the current higher education system. No one would have faulted Mr. Daniels for limiting his view to the students already served by Purdue. It's what most college presidents do. But looking past the confines of the current, mostly traditional age student body could produce big opportunities. So opportunities is something to do. Opportunities are important. By expanding, it's going to be important to understanding the story because he's doing something different. Right? The guy, Daniels, is doing something different. He's doing he's thinking outside the box, right? And he's trying to create opportunities for more students, thereby bringing more money into the school. By expanding access to thousands of potential students in Indiana and millions beyond, Purdue is recalibrating toward an unserved population, a key characteristic of disruptive innovation. Okay, so here's the message that's beginning to be formed for me, right? Here's the message that's beginning to be formed. Daniels is an education disruptor. I think that's the message. It is rejecting a myopic status. Myopic means kind of one-sided. Status quo, and instead making a strategic investment in non-traditional, okay, so strategic investment in non-traditional students who have been historically ignored. Okay, so he's kind of taking advantage of an untapped market. Online education is growing. Okay, so here, look at these parts right here. This is important. Millions of potential students are unserved by the current higher education system. He said he detailed three key realities. So here's reality one. Reality two. Online education is growing. This looks like number three. I'm looking at the bullet point here. Purdue can't build online capabilities, so we should buy them. So those are the key three realities. I'm going to skip through this to the end, and I'm going to read this last paragraph to see if I can figure out theme and message quickly, because I'm looking at my time here, and I've already spent 12 minutes. The innovator's dilemma is one, and we want to make sure that we can get the introduction written within 25 minutes, right? The innovator's dilemma is one of the toughest strategic predicaments an organization can face in an era marked by technological upheaval and economic transition. It is more common than ever. Mr. Daniels is setting Purdue on the right course for good reasons. Okay, this looks like message. For good reasons, and he deserves a great deal of credit. Okay, that looks like message to me. As the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. For Purdue, the next 1,000 miles will consist of navigating regulatory approvals, winning the support of stakeholders, and not least the hard work of building the new you. Okay, we can be hopeful on behalf of those left behind by today's higher education system that Purdue treads a path that others can follow. Okay, so hopeful, that's a tone word, right? Okay, I'm also thinking that there's kind of like an admiration. Theme, so here's a message and here's a theme. And this is kind of like the theme that we're seeing a lot in business news, right? It's like kind of a grow or die, right? There's a theme of creativity, innovation. These are themes. Okay, so text type, I have it. It's an opinion article. The title, Innovator's Dilemma Hits Higher Ed. The audience, it's going to be people in education, students, parents, educational administrators, teachers, probably. We can put that in there too. Audience, that's that. Purpose is to weigh in on the new idea to make colleges affordable. And maybe also to support Daniels. It's an opinion article, right? And that admiring tone seems supportive. I might add supportive also to tone. Content, last month's announcement, the content is that Purdue University, under Mr. Daniels' leadership, purchased the for-profit Kaplan University, and that they're doing this for three reasons. The rationale for it was that millions of potential students are unserved by current higher education system. Purdue is a public school, and so they're looking at, Mr. Daniels is looking at this as a way to reach more students, right? It's a big opportunity to reach an unserved population. Number two, online education is growing. They want to get on board. Number three, Purdue can't build online, so it should buy them. That's content. Context, university's expensive. Universities cost a lot to run. They're trying to get that unserved population. This can reach an unserved population, and it can also make money. The message is that President Daniels is an educational disruptor, and that and the theme is that we have this sort of like, if universities want to keep up with the times, they need to grow, they need to do new things, they need to be creative, and they need to be innovative. Okay? Now, look, that was 15 minutes. Now I've got 10 minutes to write my introduction. I'm going to switch over to Camtasia so you can see my document. Okay, we started at 5 till 9, so it's in 17 minutes, so I have 8 minutes-ish. I guess I can give myself a couple minutes in between because of the transition, but in 8 minutes my goal is to write an introduction. All right, so right now I'm going for getting the bones down. I'm going to start with the text type. In the opinion article in Alana Dunnigan's opinion article, written 15 May 2017 in the Wall Street Journal, titled Alana Dunnigan's opinion article, The Innovator's Dilemma, Hits Higher Ed, written March 15, 2017 in the Wall Street Journal. What does the opinion article do? Let's say, is written for an audience of college teachers, administrators, students, and their parents. Okay, so I have text type, author, audience, title. It's written for an audience of college teachers, administrators, students, and their parents. Purpose, students, potential, future. College teachers, administrators, future students, and their parents. I would say in future students, because that doesn't limit it to just the traditional type of student who's 18, right? The purpose of the article is to support Purdue University's president, what's his name, Daniels? McDaniels. Mr. Daniels. What's his first name? What's his first name? Mitch Daniels. Mitch Daniels, who the author, we'll say who Miss Dunnigan views as an educational as an innovator and a disruptor of traditional higher education. Oop. Okay, so now I have, so the article, opinion, let's say the opinion article. This, we'll call it op-ed to change the words. Op-ed, so I'm going to go back to the 1, 2, 3 that we talked about before. Op-ed cites 3 reasons Mr. Daniels we're going to go back to talking about the purpose of the article is to support Purdue University's President Mitch Daniels after he announced that Purdue University would purchase Kaplan University. Kaplan University is a for-profit. It's a for-profit. Kaplan University, an online for-profit school. Ms. Dunnigan views Mr. Daniels. Mr. Daniels is an innovator and a disruptor. We'll say actually admires Mr. Daniels. As an innovator and a disruptor of traditional higher education. Her op-ed cites 3 reasons Mr. Daniels led the acquisition. Say millions of students are currently unserved by higher education. Number 2, online education is growing. And finally, Purdue is better off buying an online infrastructure. Then building one from scratch. We'll say buying a proven online infrastructure and then building one from scratch. Okay, so that covers my my content. This I need to get some context in here. As college costs rise, and is both the cost of attending college and running college facilities rise, institutions must find new ways to serve students and increase revenue. So that gives my context. The message. The message of this opinion article is that Mr. Daniels is an we'll say is a disruptor of higher education, is a disruptor of higher education, and that his move to purchase Kaplan is risky, unconventional, and smart. Unconventional, we'll say unexpected. That's coming from the subheadline. And then we have the theme. The article, major themes in there include major themes in the article include the need for universities to be creative and innovative in a quickly changing landscape. Maybe not quickly, we'll just say a changing landscape. Or face major themes in the article include the need for universities to be creative and innovative in a changing landscape, and an attempt to not be left behind as their competitors also work to stay ahead of the curve. All right, so now that's 9:23. That's 28 minutes. Okay, so pretty close to the 25-minute mark. Give me a minute or two of transitioning and uploading the video to this, but we'll see that we'll kind of read through it one more time and then check to see that I've hit on all the things that need to be discussed. Let's look at a word count real quick. This is 200 words. All right, Elena Dunnigan's opinion article, "The Innovator's Dilemma Hits Higher Ed," written 15 May 2017 in the Wall Street Journal, is written for an audience of college teachers, administrators, and future students. The purpose of the article is to support Purdue University's president, Mitch Daniels, after he announced that Purdue University would purchase Kaplan University, an online for-profit school. Ms. Dunnigan admires Mr. Daniels as an innovator and a disruptor of traditional higher education. Her op-ed cites 3 reasons Mr. Daniels led the acquisition. Millions of students are currently unserved by higher education, online education is growing, and Purdue is better off buying a proven online infrastructure than building one from scratch. As both the cost of attending college and running college facilities rise, institutions must find new ways to serve students and increase revenue. The message of this opinion article is that Mr. Daniels is a disruptor of higher education, and that his move to purchase Kaplan is risky, unconventional, unexpected, and smart. Major themes in the article include the need for universities to be creative and innovative in a changing landscape, and an attempt not to be left behind as their competitors also work to stay ahead of the curve. I'm happy with this as my so what. And then my second paragraph is going to be I'll probably talk about maybe we'll talk about structure and style in one paragraph, and then the third paragraph, the second body paragraph, will be about the tone. It's kind of an admiring tone, and then in my conclusion, I will I don't know what I'll do for my conclusion yet. We'll get to that at another time. All right, let's see that we have author. Text type. We have audience. We have title. Purpose. And you notice is in the first sentence I took care of a lot of them, and then I'm just moving down my list. Now, purpose was the next, and then this starts to get a little bit of tone. I snuck the little tone in there. Here's content. Here's context. Here's message. And here's theme. I don't need to talk about mood, tone, style, structure necessarily, although there is kind of an allusion to that right here. I don't need to talk about tone, style, and structure in this first paragraph because I have 2 body paragraphs in which I'm going to be able to talk about tone, style, and structure. Okay, and you'll see that we've hit all the things we need to. Text type, title, author, audience. Oh, where's the author? Author. Audience. We got the purpose right here. We got the content right here. We got the context right here. We got the message here, and we got the theme. Okay, I hope this helps you.